to have an observation I thought was pretty interesting, and it has to do with just coming into this space and being able to really get to the adjustment that's being created here. So I suddenly realized that I'm just trying to get into deeper relaxation, and which is being. And it became so obvious that the doing part, the things that I'm doing, are kind of keeping this apprehension going, that is kind of this state of, oh. And the minute I see that I'm just stop doing, that I see this, to some extent, whatever turmoil there is in my life is because of me doing it, because of me creating this apprehension that is in the way of being. I just sort of suddenly saw that so clearly.
Yeah, the me and the apprehension go hand in hand. They're one. In fact, if you look for a me, you will find thoughts. You will find all sorts of resisting thoughts. You will find judgmental thoughts, self-judgments, judgments of others. You will find images that also have a thought attached to them saying, that's me in the past, that's me now, this will be me tomorrow. You will find a sense of me, some sort of, but you have to look carefully. You will find some sensation that's with a thought. It's sort of a subtle thought that says that's me. I'm this person, this sensory person. But it's subliminal. And there is the non-subliminal that says, oh yeah, I'm Magdi, I'm Joe, I'm Bill, I'm Mary, I'm Susie. And what part of it is me? That's what the me is, these impressions, thought impressions, some defined sensations. And of course, there is a me story also. Me story. Whatever. For everybody, mind has me story that differs. And the story changes. But yes, Jack, the me and the contraction and the unhappiness. Me is unhappiness. Me basically means, I wish I get this or that, or I wish this and that would change in my life, or I wish this and that didn't happen, or why is this happening? It's resistance and seeking. Why am I fill in the blanks, ... Why am I this or that? But if there is a me, in fact, then that me, if there's actually a me, then that me has to be present across the board. Because if it's a me that appears and disappears, what sort of me is that? In your night dream, you have pink elephants, they appear and disappear, right? What sort of pink elephant is that? You wake up in the morning, where is it? So if in fact there is a me, then there has to be me across the board. Meaning there has to be a me right now, a me. Then we say, okay, fine, no problem. Hey, Magdi, shut up. Here's the me. Right? So we say, okay. Case settled. That's the me. So we look right now. Because we're not going to say there is no me out of the blue or there is a me out of the blue. We're going to actually look. So we look right now. What is the me? Where is the me? So we look. So let's look. Where do we start? Shall we start with, oh yeah, there is a me, because let's start with, I am born. As soon as we say I am born, all we are doing is expressing via words, because this body-mind, one of the capacities of the body-mind is that it can speak. One of the capacity of the oak tree is that it can produce leaves and then drop them in the fall. The body-mind, the human body-mind, can speak. Okay, big deal. Okay, a worm can crawl. Humans don't crawl. Okay, fine. So we can speak. So when we say, I am born, we are speaking. Yes? What does it mean we're speaking? We are perceiving a thought. And we are putting this thought in sound. The thought says, I am born. And then we say, oh, I am born. Because the thought is silent. But via the body-mind instrument, we can give a voice, give sound to that silent thought. So we say, I am born. We just produced a sound. We produce a sound. What is that sound now? It's gone. Okay, let's go back to the sound. So we produce a sound. I am born. That sound that says I am born does not have an experiential validation. Because in fact, if you look at the experiential validation of I am born, you have zero recollection of being born. But I may be wrong. If some of you here do have a recollection of you being born, please share it with me. Let's share it. Here, there is no recollection of being born. But I do have a birth certificate with a stamp, official stamp that says. But in fact, I do not have any experiential validation of being born.
When you are born, there is no thoughts and sound, right?
I cannot speak of that I do not know. How can I speak of being born when I do not have any experience of it? I can't tell you. Maybe you can tell me. I don't have any experience of being born. Now I know that bodies, human bodies, are born because I was there when certain bodies were born. Okay. Now, yes, so therefore I can say, yeah, I have experiential evidence that human bodies are born, how they're born, and so on. But do I have any experiential validation of that I'm born? I don't. Coming back to the question we're looking at is, what is this me? Because if there is a me, then there has to be me right here, right now. That's what we're looking at, just so we refresh a little bit. That's what we're looking at. What is the me, if there is a me right here, right now? So there is no doubt that there is a perception. And every body-mind's perception is different. From this angle, there is this perception. From that angle, there is that perception. There is a specific body-mind perception. Undeniable, yes? We're on board, right? There may be also a thought that is perceived. For example, gee, it's nice to be here. It's a thought. Or, gee, I love mango. I wish, I shouldn't, after this satsang, I'm going to go buy myself some mangoes. It's a thought. There may be a thought. Yeah? So there's, and if there is a thought, there's no denying, oh, there is a thought. We're looking for the me, right? Okay, there's a thought, there is a perception. Then there may be some bodily sensation. Like this, loosen my back, or feel my feet on the, or I feel warm. So we won't deny that if there is a bodily sensation. Okay, cool, there is a bodily sensation. There may be a thought, I'm a me. Okay, so that's a thought. Okay, it differs from I love mangoes. Not all thoughts are the same. But to perceive a thought that says, I am me, that's not a validation, that's not enough to come to the conclusion that, yeah, it's just that thought changes, and there's another thought now with this, gee, I'd love to travel around the world. So we're still looking for the me in our experience. Right? Up to now we found thoughts, we found perceptions, we found some bodily sensations. But there is also awareness. Because something perceives that thought, which we refer to as I/awareness. Something perceives this perception, or hears these words, which we refer to as I. It's not something you can see. It's not something you can measure, but it's undeniable. Yes? I am this I. I am this undeniable, non-objective, non-phenomenal, I refer to it as awareness or beingness. Yes? I'm not inventing the wheels, I'm just talking logic, I mean, factual. We're all together now, right?
So I'm hearing is that you're saying, you're talking about these sort of mechanisms through which you attempt to define yourself as being subject to time and place, and therefore restricted by that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we are subject to time and space. So let's look at that. Right now there is this perception, yes, right? And there is an awareness of this perception, which is I. Okay. Now, indeed, this perception is subject to time and space, because this perception right now is semi-lit. But this same perception at midnight is a darkness, well, without electricity. So this perception is subject to time and space, we could say. Or if you are cooking some beans, yeah, the cooking of those beans are subject to time and space, because if you start cooking them, you try to eat them, you're going to lose a tooth or two. But if you wait 3-4 hours or whatever time the beans take, you season them and so on, the beans have changed as a result of time. Yes? So yes, perception is subject to time and space. But that perceives the awareness, if you are perceiving cooked or uncooked beans, it's the same awareness. In other words, the awareness right now that perceives this perception is the same awareness that was perceiving this morning when you were having breakfast or wherever you were having it, same awareness. So this I, what we refer to as I, although there is what is perceived is subject to time and space, the I is not.
Is there a way of knowing the I without the objects that reflects off of?
Very good question. Is there a way to know the I without a thought, without a perception or a sensation? Well, the ultimate knowing of the I is the bliss of the self. But to answer your question more directly, when you ask yourself, you can do it right now, am I? What's your answer?
The question was, am I?
Am I?
The answer is yes.
Yes. When you ask, am I, do you go to history? Do you go to any thought? Do you go to any perception? Do you go to any sensation? Do you go to your birth certificate? Do you go to your mother? Do you go to your priest? Do you go to your...
I could very easily, but because we've done this before, no.
No, let's do it.
It's
Forget
instant.
about doing it before. I'm just doing it freshly now.
It's instant.
It's instant.
There is no time, there is nothing.
If you ask yourself, am I? The immediate answer is yes, I am. But what you need to understand is when you ask the question, am I? And you say, yes, I am, you have not gone to any thought You have not gone to any sensation. You have not gone to any history. You have not gone to any. You have not gone anywhere. You've gone to the I. The I that asks the question, am I? Because it is I that's asking this question, right? It's not the butterfly. I am asking this question. I go to I. How far do you go to I? Do you go to Trafalgar Square? Do you go to the Encyclopedia Britannica? Do you go to some metaphysical thought? No, you go directly. Because you are the I. So the answer to your question is, when you ask yourself, am I? Or am I aware? That is the self knowing itself in the absence of any thoughts, perceptions, and sensations.
Right, and you talked about the bliss of the self. And so I was going to say that as I'm beginning to see that even the notion of being constricted, etc., is really just something I'm imagining, because it's willfully holding myself in time and place, and I see that, I get this underlying kind of delight about the absurdity of the whole thing. That's clearly what you're talking about. I can smell it, I can feel it. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. Whew. That's really, really good.
Sometimes the self loves to play absurdity, you know. But it returns to itself. Also in your question, Julian, another way of looking at your question, can the self know itself in the absence without having to go to the world, without having to go to the body and the mind? Between thought A and thought B, there is a space. Because if there is no space between thought A and thought B, there would be one thought. Yes? So there is a space. In that space, there is no thought. There is no perception. There is no sensation. Just a space between thought and the other. Let's stay with the thought. I know you're going to perceptions and sensation. Let's stay with the thoughts. Okay? Between thought A and thought B, there is no thought. Correct? But you don't disappear. So that is a you, meaning I, in the absence of thought. That applies to sensations and perceptions as well. Because there are many different perceptions. It's a perception A and perception B there is a space between them, other would be the same perception. Although in the space between two perceptions there is no perception, you don't disappear. Mm-hmm. So you can be open to that the I, without thought, without sensation, without perception, is actually our biggest, let's say our experience is like 100%, the realm of our experience is 100%, 99% of our experience is the self being objectless, without world, body, mind, being itself. But what is lacking is that you're not knowing of that. You are only knowing of the thoughts, meaning you are knowing of 1% of your experience, just using that metaphor, and you're not knowing of 99% of your experience. So you are not knowing of the bliss of the self. You are knowing teeny tiny bit of the bliss of the self. And what we are trying to do here in satsang is to recollect that, wait a minute, in fact, our main experience is the self. I said 99%, but I would like to correct myself. Because that 1% where we are perceiving the world, body, mind, meaning where consciousness is shining in the presence of world, body, mind, of objects, of forms. That 1% is also the self. Because the images, the perceptions, the sensations that you're experiencing, they are within you. You don't perceive an oak tree out there. You perceive your perception.
So what is this dynamic between the fear that you're going to disappear and also the capacity to know the bliss of the self? In other words, how does the bliss of the self get put off by this fear that you're going to disappear, which is false?
You know, the self likes to play. It plays hide and seek with itself. It goes, oh, who am I, 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 boo, oh, here I am. But, you know, the game is more fun when it's real. When, who am I, who am I, oh my God, I don't know who I am, I don't know who I am. Here I am. You see?
That's quite an indictment of the human condition.
Yes. So the human condition has two aspects to it. It has Maya and Lila. Maya is the ignorance of the self, meaning there is this play, this performance, this world, body, mind.
Veil of illusion.
It's veiled, but it's not veiled. Let's say there is this play, and also there is in this play the identification with a body, mind, sensation, impression, mentation, and the concern, the anxiety that accompanies confining yourself to being a man or a woman, because the self is unconfined. And when you confine the self to a body, mind, impression, thoughts, memories, me, story, and the thoughts about me in time and space, at the same time you want to jump out of your skin because you want to be what you truly are. You know, when you want to jump out of your skin, how crazy it is. It's really awful. It feels, you know, like, damn, give me a pill or something. You know, get me out of this predicament. It's like that. It's like so in Maya, there is the play of colors and shapes and forms and thoughts and the weather and the breath and tasting the food, but there is also, oh my God, you know, what's going to happen to me? You know, I'm getting older. I'm just, my money. Will I be able to survive tomorrow? God, listen, I'm 62 and 82. I'm from 650 plus to 800. I think I can do it if I can, you know. And at night I'm dreaming. I have a face. I'm scared. Something. I'm okay. I drink water. I'm feeling better now. Oh God, please help me go back to bed. You know, I do the religion and pray to, you know, all the different gods. You know, I burn incense. Yeah, I wear an amulet. You know, something under my pillow. There's a stone, a precious stone in my pocket that protects me. You know.
There's nothing wrong with any of that, except if the bliss of the self is completely pushed out of the picture.
Wait a minute. I would say that there is a lot of damn wrong with it. It's not fun. It's not happy. It's not happy.
But
I have to worry that I'm going to lose the stone. Because somebody gave it to me. It's by one of the shamans in the Chua tribe in the Amazon. It's a special stone. I have to worry where do I put it. So I always have to, be careful where I put it. Right? I go to the shower, I take it with me. No, what sort of fun that is? You have to worry all the time, and then your money, your bank account, if you go online, but the stock market this today, and so, wow, God, it dropped by 0.45% times.
T'as pas ce problème-là.
Yeah. You see? So that's Maya, right? Now then, the other side of the human experience is the freedom of the self, meaning the self consciousness. Playing this play, appearing as whatever it wishes to appear. Because it appears as a butterfly, it appears as some kind of bacteria. I think they found down in some ocean, deep down in the darkness of darkness. I don't know how many kilometers out. There are little flashy, starry lit things that just float around and they just go beep, beep, and then sometimes they light up, sometimes they don't light up. Right? All that is Lila, is the play of consciousness. The volcanoes, the lava, 1800 degrees, rock is just turning into liquid. I'm saying, coming right in. So it's fun. It's so exciting. It's so beautiful. In Lila, there is just the play. There isn't a concern about me. There isn't concern about me. So, yes, there is an unhappiness with the Maya, with this me identification. But you don't need it, you see? You don't need it. In fact, if you look for it, you don't find it. And if you ask yourself, is it useful? Imagine that it existed, okay? Is it useful to have a me to worry about? To be concerned about what's going to happen to its money, its wealth, its health, its hair, its hips, its dropping, whatever. If I have a choice, I'd say, okay, no, it's okay, there is a me, but it's not a problem. You can have it. Because I don't need it. Of what service is it? Your worries, your troubles and your concerns. Of what positive usefulness there is. I know it's exciting, God, I'm going to lose my fortune. I didn't lose it. How great, it's exciting. But how much excitement after a while? You cannot just have excitement. Excitement is like when you go to the roller coaster in the amusement park. Okay, let's say you're 15. Okay, you're 15. You go on roller coaster, you go on this one. Then you go on the one that flips you and turns you. And then you go on the one that takes you up and then you throw down and up. But after 2 hours, you're going to start to throw up. Okay, after 3 hours if you're 15, okay? For me, it's like, I just go to the cafe, have a cup of tea and, you call me when you're done.
I don't know, is it possible to, like, when we are looking for the, said let's look for the me first. When you talk about, getting involved in all the worries and everything, but can we talk about a day in the life of somebody?
Yes.
Like you wake up and you go through whatever you need to do and everything.
Mm-hmm.
There are moments of your day when things need to be resolved and they, yeah, of course, if they create anxiety because you cannot resolve them, that's the me interfering. Yeah. But there are things that needs to be resolved. I mean,
what do you mean by resolved?
what do you mean? Let's
done?
say you by doing such action you are losing money in your business or whatever. Where is the I? Where is the me there?
Well, the
I'm talking
the
about
I,
like everyday
the
life.
I is what perceives. So it perceives a certain situation and it says, "Oh, okay, I need more information." Or maybe it doesn't need more information. Maybe it sees clearly. It says, "Oh, I see clearly. This is the path that I need to take. Right? I need to buy this car instead of that car because when mechanic tested this car, and this car has an engine that makes a little sound, and this one is, purrs like a cat. It's beautiful. So I'll go with that." And I buy that car. 3 months later, it's the engine and is gone on it. So that's the I, and then the me goes, "Oh, I should have. I wouldn't have. Why did I? I shouldn't have. Listen, but that's the me." The I says, "Oh, okay, darn. Okay, that was a bad choice. Okay, let's see what can we do now." There isn't
Like a drama.
right, because you do your best. You have a situation. Of course, you have to, as you say, throughout the day or in your life, you have to make decisions. Hopefully, you have enough information to make the decision. If you don't, then you need to gather more information. So you take your time to gather the information. Except if you have to make a decision. Sometimes you don't have time to, you have to make a decision. Okay, you're missing some data, but the situation is such that you have to make a decision now. You have option A, B, and C, but you don't have clarity because you don't have the full set of information. What do you do in this case? You flip a coin, I guess, or you take 3 sticks. One yellow is option A, green is option B, purple is option C. You put them behind your back, and then you pull one of them. Oops, it's purple, so I'm going to go with option C. Because how can you make a decision? How can you make a choice otherwise? But you do the decision, and you do it in your total freedom that, okay, this is the situation, there's an understanding. Okay? You make the decision, and it may be the route that has a dead end. One of those 2 others was the correct route. But you did not know, because you did not have the data. So you come to a dead end. Do you need to go into regret? Well, at what point? What's going to be the use of doing the whole drama? Oh, and this, if I had more time, why didn't I have 2 more months? Why didn't I this and that? And he should have, and she should have, and no. Now you're at the end. You say, okay, well, it's a fresh moment. What do I do now? And so you look at what's available to you then, at that specific point in time, which is always the now. You see. So there is it's not to be living in the clarity of being does not mean to be just frozen. I'm beingness. Doesn't mean that.
Okay.
In the contrary, there is a clarity of mind, because there isn't all these me thoughts about what will happen to me if, what will, and what if, There is difference between using the mind to analyze a situation and using the mind with a concern about myself.
Atrophy, yeah.
There's a difference. The mind is a perfect tool to observe, to measure, to calculate, to assess, to research, to investigate. But that's different from the me. The me is the sense of danger and some sort of some impending doom sensation that my life is at stake if I make the wrong choice. The body-mind's life is a flash. You know those fireflies? That's the body-mind's life. It's like a firefly. That is, it's doomed. The body is doomed. Body-mind is doomed. But you are not the body-mind, you see. You are the freedom of the self. You are consciousness. And consciousness knows itself in the absence of world, body, mind. Consciousness is itself primarily, and secondarily, it is the world, body, mind. Like the dreamer, the night dreamer. Primarily, the night dreamer is the dreamer, is that human being in bed. Primarily, the dreamer is the dreamer. And secondarily, the dreamer is the pink butterfly that is dreaming and traveling to Hawaii and all sorts of dream events. Secondarily, the dream events dissolve, but you don't. The dreamer doesn't dissolve. If there was a lion chasing you at night, when you wake up in the morning, the lion has dissolved. It's the same thing with consciousness. Consciousness, it dreams that it's a Magdi, and then Magdi dissolves. Consciousness doesn't dissolve. Magdi dissolves.
I think that's a great metaphor, because you can make plain decisions in a dream, but when you wake up, you realize none of those decisions truly had any gravity to them.
Yes.
So I think it's a great metaphor.
Yeah. Life is full of metaphors. I mean, look at the metaphor right now. You see, it's the darkness. You know, the sun is full shining. The sun hasn't gotten darker. That's an amazing metaphor.
So the sense of doom that you're talking about is this sort of attachment of body and mind as the sole basis of reality.
Yes.
That it's the only reality.
Absolutely.
It's totally perishable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When in ignorance, we perceive the objects to be real. Although these objects are constantly changing. In ignorance, the reality is placed in the wrong arena. In the wrong arena. We are placed the reality onto the world, body, mind. You see? But reality belongs to consciousness. That doesn't come and go. What doesn't come and go? What never ceases for you, it's not your toes or your feet or your belly or, Heck, tomorrow you may lose your toe. That's not what is always available to you. What's always available to you is I. Not I, the body, I, presence, I, beingness, I, the I. You see, we confuse the I with the body. So we say, what's happening to I, we name what's happening to the body. We say, I, the body, but no, I is not the body. I is that to which the body appears and disappears.
In fact, you don't say what's happening to I. You say what's happening to me.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
already
Yes.
you have the
Yes.
body.
But you say, for example, I went to Canada. You say, for example, you may say that I went to Canada, but no, the body has gone to Canada.
Or I'm sick.
Or I'm sick, the body is sick. But it's the body that has gone to Canada. You have not gone to Canada. What we refer to as Canada, or as I have gone to Canada, is a certain image appearing to me. You see, right now, there is an image here. Yes, a perception. Yes? Yes? But there may be, I'm not saying that there is, I'm not going to make this judgment upon you. There may be also the thought, okay, that I am in Annandale. And if there is the thought that I am in Annandale, that is ignorance. You are not in Annandale. You get it? There is a thought that is appearing to you. The thought says, I am in Annandale. There may be a feeling that's arising to you, and a thought that is based on that feeling or connected to that feeling that says, I am in Annandale and I feel I am in Annandale. So there may be a thought and a feeling arising to you. But the fact that there is a thought or a feeling arising to you saying that I am in Annandale, let's say there is a thought or a feeling that arises to you that says that I'm in Kathmandu. Let's say you drank a couple of shots of I don't know what, and now there's a thought that says, hey, I'm in Kathmandu. Or I am an orangutan. That doesn't mean that's true. The thought that appears to you is not a validation of any, it doesn't speak up, it has no way of speaking about you. What is perceived does not have any information about the perceiver. Cannot. Whatever is perceived is inert. Life belongs beyond what is perceived. You follow?
I follow.
Yeah.
It belongs beyond what is perceived. It belongs to the I. The I. This is why the entire spiritual journey culminates into know thyself. I would say know thyself.
No, what?
Know thyself, yourself. Know the self. Know the self, and don't forget this knowingness.
A lot gets confused with even the I. The I, I think for most people, including myself, a lot of times the I really is spoken of as me.
Yes.
I went somewhere, me went somewhere.
Yes.
So it is spoken of as the body mind. So
Yes.
it's not
Yes.
known to be that which perceives.
Yes.
So there could be even the know thyself type stuff. I mean, I was brought up, and then certain things where people say that's know thyself. You know that one, and it's like now I have to know who I am and all the why I think the way I think and all that, and all that stuff. So a lot of stuff is referenced towards the me, and then non-duality. That's the suffering.
Yes.
It appears to be.
Yes. Yes. And if you look around you, being a me is the mass hysteria in our culture. Yes? It's the most common virus
Particularly right now.
Oh yes,
that
I
we
was going
suffer
to say.
from. No, it's been around. So you may be sitting thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to get out of this me?
How's me going to get out of me?
You're never a me. You're never a me. It's just in little steps. Stop buying those goods. Whenever you notice that you are buying those goods, the me goods, the me story, whenever you notice that, you're already in a different place. Because when you're noticing it, that means you're not totally into the game. Whenever you notice that you're taking on the position of a me and you, me and her, me and him, me and the better me in the past, and now I'm getting worse. It's still the me A and me B. Whenever you notice that, take a step back, stop, pause, say, wait, no. That's good enough. Just in this, just that. Just at that moment, I'm not buying it. Not I am not buying it, and now what's next? No, just to pause, simply to pause. Don't, it's like in the church, they pass the thing, the money. You say you put in $1, and you say, how much can I take? Yeah. If I put in $1, do I get two? It's not like that. You just put the $1. That's it. It's gone. So in that way, you say, okay, no, that's the old paradigm. Me and my life, and him and her, and you notice that. Say, no, just stillness. Not stillness and and the begging bowl. No begging bowl. No begging bowl. No, hey, I'm improving, I'm getting better. I did good today, Okay, fine. If you do that, fine, no big deal. But in time, because you still want to say no to the me, but let me still grab a little piece of it. You're right. Yes.
So I'm missing a little bit of clarity, and I kind of just want to talk through it. So when you asked, am I an Annandale? I can acknowledge that the mind-body is an Annandale.
Yes.
And that awareness is aware of that right now.
Yes.
Also, it's tricky. It gets tricky because it feels like consciousness or awareness follows the mind-body, but of course, there's a knowing that the mind-body appears in consciousness is actually the opposite. And the knowing of that comes from the knowing that I've experienced consciousness as the mind-body is not, like in sleep.
In the absence.
Right, in the absence of, in sleep, for instance, there is still awareness with the absence of the mind-body. But I guess the confusion leads to ignorance in my experience, and that confusion, which is that it really feels like the mind body, or it really feels like awareness follows the mind body, and it's kind of like that infinite ocean with multiple waves, and I'm a wave, or the me is a wave, and I feel like I guess there's a sort of an illusory personification.
Yes.
That's confusing.
So it's true that whenever there is a body experience, there has to be consciousness. Whenever there is a thought, a perception, there has to be consciousness. And it seems that the body is arising first and then consciousness is following.
mine's different from yours. My awareness is mine, it's not yours.
Well, let's go into that next because it's a different question. So it may seem that okay, the body arises and then consciousness sort of following it, but how could a body arise? To what would it arise?
Yeah, I get you. I get what you're saying.
It has to arise
Right.
to consciousness. So I think this impression that the body is primary or body-mind is primary and consciousness is following, I think that will fade in time as you realize more and more that in fact there can't be any arising without, to what would it arise without consciousness being there? You could say there is a simultaneous arising. You could say, well, okay, I don't have any evidence that consciousness is there before the thought, let's say, but I don't have any evidence, actually it's illogical to have a thought without consciousness. So at best, I could say there is a co-arising. And if you come to that conclusion, with a co-arising, I would say that that's good. It's good enough because, in fact, every moment that there is a perception, a frame that arises, the frame that arises, you could say it co-arises, it is a co-arising with consciousness, but the next frame, the next perception is different from the previous frame. And there's also a co-arising of consciousness, but consciousness is the same. So if there is a co-arising, let's say, we say, okay, the co-arising, perceptions and sensations, or whatever, our experiences are co-arising with consciousness. Upon our contemplation, which we're in a way doing now, and of course you do your own contemplation in your own time, in your own way, you can deduct that, well, there is one thing, one part of this co-arising is constantly changing, and another part of this co-arising is never changing. So something that arises and never changes,
Right, maybe it never came and went.
so it has no, whatever arises as a perception has a beginning and an end. If it's a thought or an experience, whatever, a feeling, a mood, whatever you call it, that has a beginning and an end, because then you have a year later or a week later or a minute later, it's a different scene.
Can we move on to the impression of like my awareness?
Yes. Yes. So then there is, my awareness is different from your awareness. So in our experience, again, I recognize that feeling and that belief and that statement you're saying. But in your experience, what do you know? Well, first, before we go there, we have to be clear what we mean by my awareness. By my awareness, we mean that doesn't change. Doesn't change. Not only doesn't change, we cannot find to it a beginning, we cannot find to it an end. It's true that what appears is constantly changing. For example, now we say this experience, this perception, at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're in bed, is dream or deep sleep. So, but the awareness of the dream is the same awareness of this perception, or the awareness of the deep sleep is the same awareness of this perception. Just to establish some ground rules. So first we're speaking about awareness, meaning something that is not a perception, that is beyond the perception, and that has no beginning nor end, is unchanging. That, I know it. I know that. I know, and you can call it my awareness if you want to, why not? I know that awareness, but I also know that awareness as I am aware. You follow that?
Yeah.
This awareness is I. I mean, I am this awareness.
So with the same method of deduction, there's, I guess, a knowing / faith that consciousness is beyond the impression that it's mine. It's infinitely stretching out.
Yes, actually, when we say my awareness, we're talking about two things. We're talking about the thought or the belief, which is a thought. It's a thought without validation. Because you could have a thought, this is a beige couch and this is a red couch. There is a validation for those thoughts. But a belief has no validation. Okay? So the way when you say my consciousness, you're basically talking about a belief, which is a thought, without validation. And a feeling or sensation or feeling that, yes, this is so. But both the thought and the feeling, they are appearances. They appear to you. They appear to you, your awareness. And what appears to you is an object, is a form. Whether it's a gross object, such as these glasses, or a feeling, which is a subtle appearance. But they're both forms. And forms, they appear and disappear. A diamond doesn't. And they don't define awareness. I mean, these glasses appearing, they don't define what they appear to. Or a thought appearing does not define what it appears to. So awareness is not defined by anything that appears to it. Like in the night dream, whatever mind dreams appear to the dreamer, they don't mean they don't mean doo-doo to the dreamer. Whether it's Shangri-La that's appearing or World War VI. But coming also, we know there is one reality. Yes? We know there is one reality. And when we're speaking of consciousness, we are referring to the reality that knows, or the knowingness that we're not talking about some imaginary concept of belief or experience. We're talking about the reality of consciousness. When we're speaking of consciousness, we're speaking about the reality that perceives. because there is a reality to this moment. Not the reality may not belong to this perception, but there is some reality. Even if we are dreaming this perception, there is a reality that's dreaming this perception, which we refer to as consciousness. Whether this perception is real or is a dream doesn't matter to the reality of consciousness. So we know there is one reality, and we know that that reality is consciousness. So if there is one reality, and that reality is consciousness, there cannot be multiple consciousnesses, because that would mean there are multiple realities, and that flies in the face of our deep knowingness or deep intuition that there is in fact one reality. Now, the confusion in your question is between mind and consciousness. There is one play occurring on the stage, but that one play is composed of many different actors, many different roles. I'm using the metaphor of the play. Although it is one play, there are various lines in the script that are being played out by different actors. But it's one play. You are confusing mind with consciousness, or I sometimes talk about the electric grid. The electric grid in the state of whatever, Virginia or this county, is one grid. But that one electric grid, although it is one grid, the light that emanates from a certain body-mind fixture and a different body-mind fixture, which may be neon or whatever it is different. The perception of this body-mind, the phenomenal perception of this body-mind from this angle, seated in this seat, is different from the visual perception of the body-mind B, sitting in a different seat, body-mind C, etc. Although there are infinite minds and infinite mind perceptions within every mind, is not an evidence that there is multiple consciousnesses. It's an evidence that there are in fact infinite body minds that, and I'm proposing you to be open to that are fueled by the one reality. Like a puppeteer, sometimes a puppeteer is holding 2 or 3, the really good puppeteers, they even hold 4 of them, of these sticks and they have all these 10 or 8 or 12 puppets. That is one puppeteer. Yes? And in your experience, you're never experiencing another consciousness. I understand what you were saying about you feel that way and you believe that way, but that's the result of our ignorance, which we are stepping out from now. Because when we see the light in the tunnel and we follow the light, it gets brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter as we continue to follow the glimmer of the light that gets bigger as we move towards it. So the shedding of the false is a natural process in satsang and in your contemplation. It sort of effortlessly diminishes because unknowingly you are drawn to the light. You are the light of being. You are the destiny that you are seeking, that you are contemplating. You are the freedom, the bliss of the self. You have never been truly anything else but I understand your dream.